Good morning, folks. It's a beautiful, cool and rainy Vancouver morning. Look at that. Oh, the mist has cleared up already, but a little bit earlier it was just misty throughout the trees here. It looked surreal. It's like a fantasy land. Absolutely beautiful weather. Anyway, today what I want to talk about is money and currency conversions. You know, anytime you move from a country that's got a currency that's weaker than the country that you move to, there's a couple of things you got to watch out for. I mean, take South Africa to Canada. One Canadian dollar is about 13 South African rands. So let's look at the things that you should not do. Number one, do not convert in your head. We all do it when we get here originally. You go to the shop and you're like, oh, it's $2. Shoo, that's 26 rand. That's a lot of money. You know, and if you do that, it'll drive you nuts because everything is just going to seem super expensive. And the most important thing that you got to remember is that you are now earning Canadian dollars. So you need to try and adjust and think in Canadian dollars. Do not think in rands. If you think in rands, you're going to have a problem because it's going to drive you nuts. And that's one thing that everybody tells you. I mean, that's common advice. Don't convert in your head. Don't do it. But there's another one that I find that I often do, and it's, you know, it's also risky because the thing is, I'm used to working with big numbers. You know, when I was in South Africa, if I wanted to buy a new iPhone, it would be 16,000 Rand or 18,000 Rand. Here it's only $900 or $1,000. And you can see the difference. You know, the one is 16,000, the other one is 1,000. So 1,000 seems reasonable, seems cheaper, which, you know, it isn't necessarily. I find that I oftentimes, how do I put it? I oftentimes, because I'm used to thinking in big numbers, things nowadays seem cheaper to me in dollars than they actually are. And I think that you could easily start spending more money than you would want to. You know, for instance, we go to the store and Connor sees some Japanese drink that he saw advertised on the anime that he watches. And it's like $3 for a little cold drink. You know, and you're like, oh, it's only $3. I mean, if you think in three doesn't seem like a lot when you come from the whole rand background. You know, 3 rand's nothing. So it's only $3, and I'll be like, okay, cool, sweet, get it, go try it out. That's what he wants to do. He wants to try it out. Tell you what, if I was back in South Africa and I had to pay 40 rand for that same drink, I probably would have thought twice about it because I'd be like, holy wow, that's a lot of rands. That's a lot of money. But because in the size of the numbers, we tend to sometimes spend a bit more than we should. You know, I know you're supposed to think about the dollars and how many dollars you earn and how many dollars you have. But I mean, very few people can actually do that. And it's even harder if you come from a place where you are used to bigger numbers and different numbers, and suddenly you now need to go and like, oh, it's only 1 or only 2 or only 10. It's like, that's nothing. Anyway, that's just one of the things that you got to consider. So I guess the best bet is to almost work with a kind of a hybrid model, you know, because we haven't been in Canada long enough to actually really peg the dollar to what we are getting to really understand what's expensive and what's not. So what we do is we do kind of try and look at it. We don't look at the rand value in the sense like, oh, this is ridiculous. But sometimes when we look at things, I still just go and just throw it back to rands just to get a better perspective of where we fit in on the bigger scheme of things, if that makes sense. Anyway, just something worth considering. You all must have a good day. Cheers.